An important piece on the chessboard against Zhuge Liang and Jiang Wei. The Shu armies marched north on numerous occasions, but could not secure victory because of the loyal generals of Wei, including Guo Huai. He spent his entire military service in Liang and Yong provinces, where he devoted himself to Cao Cao and the reigns of 4 Wei emperors. His grandfather, Guo Shuang, and his father, Guo Yun, both served as the Minister of Agriculture for Yanmen Commandery. Guo Huai was born at an unrecorded date in Taiyuan Commandery. He started his career during the final years of the Han Dynasty, where he was nominated as a Xiaolian, then became an assistant official in Pingyuan Commandery. Between 211 and 220, when Cao Pi held the position General of the Household for all purposes, he recruited Guo Huai. He served as a law enforcement officer until he was reassigned to be a clerk in the military bureau of the Chancellor Cao Cao. When Cao Cao led his army to capture Hanzhong from Zhanglu, Guo Huai went along too and took part in the conquest of the region. When Cao Cao left, Guo Huai remained, where he served as a major under Shi Haoyuan. He was going to be given command of the armies for the Battle of Mount Dingjun, but he fell ill, so was unable to take up his duty for the initial battles. The Wei forces were ultimately routed when Shi Haoyuan was killed after he led a small detachment out of Hanzhong. Zhang He and Guo Huai collected the scattered remnants of the army who had no commander, so were scared and unsure of what to do. It was Guo Huai who proposed that they follow Zhang He. General Zhang is a celebrated leader of our state. Liu Bei is afraid of him. As the situation becomes more critical every day, our minds will not be at ease unless Zhang He takes command. It was agreed upon, so General Zhang was made the new leader. Order was quickly restored to the army, although they were now outnumbered. They retreated north of the Han River, awaiting reinforcements from Chang'an. The very next day, news arrived that Liu Bei was planning to cross to the northern side of the river. Most of the officers suggested to utilize the natural barrier by camping right on the riverbank, but Guo Huai disagreed. This isn't the best move, because it reveals our weakness to the enemy, and we can't deter them. Why don't we make camp further away, lure the enemy to attack, then strike back when they're halfway across? We can defeat Liu Bei if we do this. Zhang He and the others followed along with this plan. They strengthened their defences to show they were prepared to hold their ground. When Liu Bei saw their camp, he became suspicious, so did not send his troops across to attack. He knew Cao Cao was on his way, but he could still hold Hanzhong. As Zhang He retreated to Chenkang to prepare defences in case of a potential invasion, Liu Bei captured the entry points into Hanzhong, which effectively defeated Cao Cao's army without an engagement. Cao Cao was very pleased when he arrived, then heard about what Guo Huai had done, and approved of Zhang He's command over him, acting as a major. In the final year of the Han Dynasty, Guo Huai received a secondary marquis and promotions from Cao Pi, who had inherited the state. In the coming months, he went along with Zhang He and Yang Xiu in leading imperial forces to defeat Zhang Gan's bandits across the Guangdong region. Troops were levied from the Xiang and Hu tribes. The Hu around the river revolted, but all eventually became pacified by the Wei forces. At the end of the year, Cao Pi usurped the throne, but Guo Huai fell sick on his journey to the capital, so had to rest until he was well. Having arrived late to the coronation, he hosted a banquet to celebrate the new emperor. Cao Pi implied that he should execute him, then sternly asked him in front of all the guests why he was late. I heard that the 5 emperors taught and ruled their people by virtue. The use of punishment started in the Xia dynasty, when its rule began to weaken. Today, I'm living in an age comparable to the 5 emperors, so I know that I won't face the same fate as those of the Xia. Cao Pi was so pleased with Guo Huai's quick wit, he further expanded his marquisate, while appointing him as the acting inspector of Yong province. He was officially commissioned about 5 years later, plus he led forces to suppress the Xiang chief BD sometime between 220 and 226. After Pi Fan from Anding was subdued, other tribal leaders also expressed their willingness to submit to Wei. Guo Huai always sent people to gather information about their clans first. When he spoke to the leaders, he surprised them with his knowledge about their demographic and his understanding towards the concerns they had. The people of Yong province praised him as a wise and brilliant governor. In 228, whilst on an inspection tour alongside the administrator of Tianshui Ma Zun, news arrived that Zhuge Liang was leading his first campaign north. Guo Huai turned to Ma Zun and said, "This is not going to turn out well." 3 northern commanderies were sent into open rebellion, when Ma Su and Gao Xiang acted as a vanguard, then advanced on Jieting and Lilua City. Whilst Zhang He was dealing with Ma Su, Guo Huai dealt with Gao Xiang. The Shu Han vanguard forces were crushed, so Zhuge Liang was forced to retreat. After driving him back, Guo Huai led forces to Baohan to settle the rebellion from the Xiang chief Tang Ti. Following Hao Zhao's successful defense of Chenkang, Zhuge Liang launched his third attack north, heading for Jianwei. Chen Shi was the vanguard sent to attack Wudu and Yinping, so Guo Huai quickly brought his troops against him. They met in open combat at Jianwei, approximately 30 kilometers northwest of Wudu, on the West Han River. When Zhuge Liang's main force arrived, it forced Guo Huai to retreat, but he established a defensive position to check his enemy's advance. Shu had claimed some ground, but didn't want to waste strength on a prolonged battle, so Zhuge Liang was unable to proceed. The Wei forces countered with a three-pronged attack in August of 230. Cao Zhan spearheaded the Ziwu campaign as he marched through from Chang'an. Sima Yi sailed from Jing province whilst Zhang He was given command of a western advance. Guo Huai served under him, so was sent with Fei Yao to obstruct Wei Yan's return back south. He had been sent north to sow dissent and trade weapons with the various tribes, but then was also able to overcome the combined Wei forces before returning to Shu. Due to the vigorous fighting throughout the Battle of Mount Qi, supplies started to run short for both sides. The farmland played a big role in this battle, where Guo Huai turned to the local Xiang and Di tribes for aid. He convinced them to donate food supplies, then allocated them accordingly so that all the units had enough to eat. He was promoted for the important domestic mission he fulfilled, enabled by his earned reputation among the tribes. During the Battle of Wujiang Plains, Guo Huai joined Sima Yi to resist the final Shu invasion from Zhuge Liang. Stationed on the south side of the river, Guo Huai became concerned about the territories on the north bank. He urged the armies to move, as he foresaw that Zhuge Liang would try to seize the north. Most officers disagreed with him, but Sima Yi listened to his cause. If Zhuge Liang crosses the Wei River and occupies those plains, his troops will have access to the mountain in the north. If they block the road through the mountains, it will agitate the barbarians and people living in the region. This isn't helpful to our state. He was allowed to occupy the plains with a temporary barricade, but he came under attack whilst he was building his camp. Regardless, he was able to drive the enemy back. Several days later, they heard news that Zhuge was planning another attack to the west. Guo Huai was the only one who recognized that it was a ruse. He was proven right when the Shu forces later attacked them at Yangsui one night. As he had set up defences already, they stopped the Shu forces from finding any success. When Jianwei attacked Longxi in 240, he attempted to ride up the Xiang and Di tribes, but Guo Huai led his forces to repel them. Shu were forced into the territory of the Xiang tribes led by King Midang, then pursued out of the region. Guo Huai followed up by attacking King Midang, which led him to pacifying more than 3,000 Di barbarians in the region. Leaders from the Xia Tu Xiongnu of Liang, such as Liang Yuanbi, also surrendered. 2,000 more families were settled in Yong province, but Guo became worried about the instability in Xiliang. He requested to move his office in Gaoping and Anding Commandery, which led to the creation of a new commandery to suit his needs. He established the office in the commandant of Sichuan to oversee the safety of the people on the northern border, and was promoted to general of the van. Acting as vanguard, he served under Cao Shuang and Xie Haoshuan when they led Wei forces to attack Shu in 244. Xie Haoba had become close friends with Cao Shuang, but he disliked Guo Huai, who had the honour of leading the vanguard. The whole campaign was a disaster from the start, but since Guo Huai sensed that he was in danger, he cautiously manoeuvred his men so they were not so badly defeated. Even though they marched along a shorter route through Ziwu, there was no water source for a large part of it, so many men perished on the way back. Guo Huai saved many of his men's lives by pulling his troops back as quickly as he did, which led to him being granted a higher military authority over Xie Haoba after the retreat. The two were at odds with each other if they had a personal difference. It doesn't seem like Guo Huai let it get in the way of duty. In 247, Ehe, Shaoge, Fatong, Essezai and others started rebelling within 4 commanderies in Wei to coincide with Jiangwei's second invasion. They attacked several cities and towns, then called for Shu forces to support them. Xie Haoba was stationed on the flank, west side of the Dao River to protect against the Shu invasion, whilst the tribes raided Fuhan County. When Guo Huai arrived at the Dao to coordinate with Xie Haoba, Xie Haoshuan and the men urged him to suppress the Xiang, but he predicted that Jiangwei would press on the flank first. They could not decide on a strategy, as Xie Haoba supervised his men at Wei Qi. We should pacify Fuhan, which inside would suppress the rebellious Xiang, and outside break the thieves from Shu. At this point, it's clear that instead of Xie Haoshuan, the actual commander on the field to give out orders was Guo Huai. He quickly headed southwards to reinforce Wei Qi. When his additional forces arrived, Jiangwei stopped his attack and retreated. Guo then moved on to attack the Xiang rebels, killing He and Xiaoge before forcing thousands of clan members to surrender. The chief, Hesai, occupied fortresses in Heguan and Baitu, which he used as defences against the Wei forces across the Dao River. Guo Huai planned an upstream attack against Baitu, but secretly led his men to cross the river downstream. This caught the rebels off guard, who were decisively defeated. Even with their victory so far, there were still many Xiang in revolt. Shi Wudai was causing trouble in Wu Wei, but their family members had remained in Shihai. It was hastily attacked by Guo Hua, who then set up an ambush for Wudai, who was sure to come back. When he returned in a hurry, he became caught in the trap. Then the two armies clashed just north of Longyi. The Xiang forces were routed, but they didn't flee far. They regrouped and occupied the main road west of Mount Shitu, cutting off the Wei communication line. Guo Huai attacked them yet again, then routed them once more. Xiang Wei was on his way back to rendezvous with Shi Wudai and his retreating forces, whilst Liao Hua had remained in Chengzhong Mountain, where he built a fortress to gather Xiang warriors. Against the will of his men, Guo Hua split the army into two to attack the enemy. Even though their strength would be reduced, he believed an attack on Chengzhong Mountain would lure Xiang Wei back. Before he can return, Liao Hua would already be defeated, so he'd have no choice but to either withdraw or drain his troops' energy, doubling back to meet Shi Wudai. Xie Haoba led one detachment towards Taijiang in order to pursue Xiang Wei, who did indeed turn around and try and reinforce Chengzhong. He failed to meet up with the barbarians, who, as predicted, retreated by themselves. By now, the Shu commander was worn out from all the travel, so had to retreat, but so was Xie Haoba and his men. The glory and merit of subduing the rebellion went to Guo Hua, who was further promoted. On the contrary, Xie Haoba received virtually nothing for his efforts in the campaign. In the spring of 249, the Wei regent Cao Shuang was deposed and executed in a coup by Sima Yi. Xie Haoshuan was called back to the capital under the guise of a promotion, which caused Xie Haoba to become suspicious of the Sima clan. After he failed to convince Xie Haoshuan to join him in fleeing to Shu, it became fraught with dread. To make matters worse, Guo Hua, whom he had a personal feud with, inherited Xuan's titles and became his commanding officer, so Ba embarked on his lone journey to Shu. It was Chen Dai who inherited Guo Huai's old title as Inspector of Yong Province. Guo Huai was promoted to General who attacks the west, and put in charge of supervising military operations in Yong and Liang provinces. In autumn, Xiang Wei attacked Yong province, then built two fortresses at Chushan, guarded by Zhu An and Li Xin. Guo Huai discussed with his generals on how to deal with the invasion, as the Xiang tribes grew more restless by the day. Chen Dai pointed out that the roads from Shu are difficult to travel, so will need a lot of supplies, and that the Xiang know about this weakness, so they may not be willing to help Shu. If the fortresses can be surrounded, then they can easily be captured. Guo Huai agreed, then ordered him, Zhu Ji, and Deng Ai to lead the Wei forces to cut off the Shu food and water supply. Zhu An and Li Xin led their men to taunt Deng Ai by requesting to do battle, but he ignored them. As time passed, the two forts gradually ran out of supplies, so Xiang Wei led his men from Mount Niutu to try and reinforce them. He encountered Chen Dai, however, who had already built forts to resist Xiang Wei's advance without engaging him. Guo Hua attacked Xiang Wei's flank, then his base at Mount Niutu alongside Chen Dai, which forced the Shu army to retreat. Zhu An and Li Xin then became isolated, which gave them no choice but to surrender. Then Guo Hua led his men further west to attack the restless Xiang tribes. Guo Huai's fief was increased to 2,780 households, thus he was now just below Sima Yi in terms of rank. The order which the dynasty had established in the Han-Chuan region was threatened several times, and on the point of collapse. Guo Huai had braved danger and achieved great merit. In his 30 years of service, outwardly he punished bandits, inwardly he soothed the people. His significant merits are self-evident. Guo Huai was promoted to General of the Chariots and Cavalry, with standing equal to that of the Three Excellencies. He wielded the Staff of Authority, alongside his duty as Chief Controller of Yong. When Wang Ling's conspiracy against Sima Yi was discovered, he was arrested alongside all other suspects. Unfortunately for Guo Hua, his wife was Wang Ling's younger sister, meaning she was taken to be executed. As his wife was being taken away, many people who lined the path to see her off shed tears, tried to grab her hands, and even wanted to attack the guards to save her. The subordinate commanders, as well as several thousand Xiang, Di and Xiongnu, kowtowed before him, urging him to petition for her release, but he refused. Then his 5 sons kowtowed, and pledged they would die if she did. Not able to allow such a fate to pass, Guo Huai sent a memorial with 1,000 riders to retrieve his wife. My 5 sons lamented their mother, heedless of their own lives. With their mother gone, they could not remain, and if they were gone, I could not remain either. That's why I've sent men to bring her back again. If I've gone beyond the limits of the law, then let the crime fall on me alone, and I shall present myself to answer for it. Given the numerous rebellions in the east, the fact that Guo Huai was a major stabilizing force in the west, paired with his extensive military career and the large outcry of support for his wife, Sima Yi could hardly risk upsetting him any further, so he pardoned both Guo Huai and his wife. It wasn't until the year 255 that the law was changed, so that a married woman was not subject to the punishment of her birth family. In the summer of 253, Jiang Wei launched his 6th northern campaign alongside Wu's attack on Hefei in the east. Sima Shi dispatched Guo Huai and Chen died to deal with Shou, so Guo mobilized the entire forces of Guangzhong and came crashing down on his enemy. Jiang Wei's provisions were limited, so he retreated when they ran out. Guo Huai passed away on the 23rd of February 255 during Cao Mao's reign. He was posthumously titled Chief General and Faithful Lord. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.